morning, everyone. This is a fast-paced agenda this morning, isn't it? So I'm going to start off first. I have to talk about this slide here, Mary Kay. It's our 60th anniversary this year. It's hard to believe. I've been there. Thank you. That's awesome. I'm thrilled and excited to say I've been there 25 years. And every time I say that, I actually surprise myself and go, wow, 25 years. So I'm going to talk today about the journey that Mary Kay's been through from a transformation perspective, from a digital and cloud perspective, and some of the headwinds we've had to navigate through and are still navigating through. And now I have to navigate the clicker. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Mary Kay. With the applause, it sounds like some of you are familiar with Mary Kay, but not everyone. Talk through some challenges that we've been experiencing, which has been the kind of the theme of this morning, are the disruptions that we're dealing with. Then I'm going to go into, my agenda slide just went. But then I'm going to go into our transformation and then talk about where we're going in the future. So who are we? Who is Mary Kay? We are a direct selling company. And so for those that are not familiar with that, we basically produce cosmetics for our independent beauty consultants to sell for a profit, running their own business. So it's really a B2B2C type business model. And so our mission is to enrich women's lives around the world. And we're true to this. We are not about selling cosmetics. We are not about that at all. Although the products we build or produce are very critical, but it really is about the opportunity. It's about these independent beauty consultants having an opportunity to start and run their own business. And they're truly individual businesses. And so when we talk about supporting her, we're talking about supporting millions of businesses. So when I talk to vendors or other companies, and they talk about your customer base, our customer base are the millions of independent beauty consultants around the world. And some of these ladies are in the business for their own use. They're in the business for making $100 worth of profit a month. Some are in the business for making multiple hundreds of $1,000s a year. And so the systems and tools that we provide for them have to support that gambit of from an entrepreneurship all the way to a truly multi-million-dollar business. We're multinational. We're in 25 plus countries. Kevin's keynote this morning hit home to me. All of that is reality. It's not around the corner. It's here today. We've been battling that over the last several years. And so when I say multinational, that means we have a true presence in those 25 markets. We have to work with local payment integrations, local tax rules, legal regulations. All of those are factors. So while we have one business model for the entire Mary Kay world, there are absolutely nuances that we have to manage within our systems and the complexities of that. The other aspect around that, being multinational, is me being the CIO of Mary Kay and managing IT, I don't have one corporate sales partner. I have multiple regional presidents. Each market has their own sales and marketing department, right? So that means the voices of request that we get is plentiful, and yet we have to build systems at a global scale. Innovation's key. I think that goes without saying, but we have to make it really easy for our IBCs to run and grow their business in this highly competitive world. If not, they don't have the investment to go build these systems themselves, right? So we're building these systems for them. So we have to be innovative. We have to be leading edge or right behind leading edge and still make it simple for them. So what are we facing? Again, this has been a theme for today, but I'll kind of bring it into the Mary Kay view. From the global disruptions, moving trade blocks, arrested global development, we're in 4 regions. I would say over the last 20 years, there's never been a time where multiple regions have been significantly impacted by geopolitical issues or struggling economy. We're at a point now where all regions are experiencing that at the exact same time. Everyone is. Need for hyper-localization, again, especially from a multinational perspective, we need to be hyper-localized. We need to be able to support that Germany independent beauty consultant, or in Kazakhstan, or in Malaysia, as a company from within that market, right? And it takes a lot of work and effort to become part of the culture of that country and bring the Mary Kay culture there. Industry disruptions, we talked about global supply chain. We have 2 manufacturing facilities, one in Dallas, which serves the world outside of China, and then China, which manufactures for China. And over the COVID years that we had in the pandemic, our supply chain teams did a phenomenal job ensuring materials and getting, not the secondary supplier for these materials, which all companies were grabbing at that, and so they did a great job keeping things moving forward. The local distribution and customer service, again, we're in many languages. Customer service has to be in the language of our IBC. When a Kazakhstan IBC calls in to the customer service, they're talking in Kazakh, right? And so we have to provide them the tools to manage through that. The customer disruptions, data security, just security in general, right? This has been important for us over the last 10 plus years, but really where the focus has been around securing our online systems. 98% of the revenue for Mary Kay comes via our online systems. So the focal point in the past has been just protecting our online systems and keeping our 5 data centers secure. That's now a small piece of what our security team has to do, right? It's now about securing our manufacturing facilities. It's about securing the robots in our facilities, right? So the expansion of their responsibilities has grown. Now you bring in deep fakes that are being sent to executives or to financial team members, right? And then what's also really grown here over the last couple of years is education around security. We have a really global security program in how we educate our employees. And while we're managing all these disruptions, we can't just stand still and manage the disruption. We still have to transform along the way. And as we get into our digital transformation, which we tend to say is technology-based, that's only a small part of it. It is absolutely about people and process as well. And that's the only way to truly innovate and grow and be able to evolve. So what did we have to reimagine? So again, I've been in Mary Kay a very long time, 25 years, and I started off building the first e-commerce site back in 1998. Thought I was revolutionizing the world, and really brought Mary Kay online. And did it in the US and then around the Mary Kay world at really high scales. So these were custom developed e-commerce systems, CRM solutions, smart reporting, community sites, engagement platforms. All these systems we built ourselves because of our complex business model and the scale that we had. Bringing in our business model and combining it to the scale we had to manage. So with our sales model, it's on a monthly cycle. And so for every month end, right, they have goals that they want to hit from a sales perspective, our IBCs do. And so we get 40% of our orders within a given month comes in the last 3 days. In the last 4 hours of the month end, which we just had Sunday night, 40% of those orders come in within those last 4 hours. And so imagine the scale there across 25 markets. So for really 24 hours of every month end, it's a Black Friday for us in each one of those markets. And so yes, I don't sleep a lot. Right? So, and we did a great job in managing that. I mean, we have our scars, but we did a great job successfully building custom solutions at that scale. But we knew we had to change. About 5 years ago, we're like, yes, we're doing great, but we can't evolve, we can't innovate fast enough to keep up with the speed of delivery of the business. And so we have talked about, or we have moved into our cloud-based systems, and I'll talk about those projects in a bit. From our supply chain and distribution network, we really, we have to compete with the next day, 2-day delivery cycles that are out there now globally, and then also the same day delivery. Luckily for us, we have what I think is the best distribution network out there, our independent beauty consultants. So when they have inventory on hand, they can hand deliver it to their customers that day, that hour, right around the block, here during lunch. So we have that advantage as well, and again, globally. Our product portfolio, we have a great group of scientists back in Dallas, innovating on product development. We have a new manufacturing facility I mentioned, which has R&D in there as well, and truly spent a lot in investing on products. Products are core to us. Having a new product roadmap and being able to give that to our independent beauty consultants, that helps them grow their business. That helps them reach back out to customers and say, I know you're using TimeWise, now about this serum, and so on and so forth. Great investment in our products. And the other factor around our products is while we're a global company, we have to manufacture and think from a localized perspective because we sell in each one of those markets. And so we need to make sure the products we build and develop are value add in each one of these markets. Talent. We had a very, and still do, but a very robust global IT organization managing those data centers, managing those custom developed applications. But again, we knew we had to transition into this cloud-first world. And so what do we do? So we had a huge footprint, we were successful. We put in about 5 years ago our cloud-first strategy. And this was taking all of those systems and either re-platforming them to a SaaS or PaaS solution or migrating them to AWS. To date in our cloud-first strategy, we've closed 2 data centers, 2 of our 5 data centers, and have migrated everything out or have replaced. And part of that is we moved our supply chain systems into AWS as well. Something that internally was questioned of whether we could do it. Well, we've done it. We've done it in China, in Hong Kong for Asia Pacific, and then just recently in Latin America. So we're continuing down that path, and ultimately where I see that going is it'll evolve from a cloud first to a cloud native strategy. For the apps that we've migrated over, yes, they were lift and shift with security first mindset, but then it was getting into now how can we enhance those applications and really make them cloud native and using native services. All with the intention of increasing value but also reducing cost. And then one of the biggest investments we made and transformations that we made was taking our core custom developed solutions, global solutions, and re-platforming them to Salesforce.com. So we are a multi-cloud, multi-product customer of Salesforce.com, from e-commerce, obviously CRM, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, you name it, we're probably using it. And we did that because we're definitely not an IT company, right? We're Mary Kay. And while we have a valuable and knowledgeable IT staff, we wanted to make sure that they're focused on the true value add pieces, not the full stack management, which is what we were doing. Even though we were using partners and all of that to help us, it was really about who are the resources we need here long term that can really help drive the business on the IT side. And so with that huge investment, we've been really successful. We've already been all the way around the world in that deployment, especially over the last 3 years. We made significant improvements. We deployed e-commerce or community and a few other pieces in 19 markets last year, which is amazing, amazing. It's never been done before at Mary Kay. And then just a quick little story about that decision of going, right? We were a Microsoft shop 100%, have been for decades, honestly. And we've always looked every couple of years of, is there a SaaS solution or a product that we could go purchase to not have to manage the full stack? And really for 20 years there honestly was not. And then 5 years ago though, again, we made the transition to Salesforce.com. One of the things I'm most proud of when we made that decision, and I was talking to our CEO at the time about the change and the significant change, because it was a hard right turn from a technology perspective. And as I was going through not just the business case, the financial aspect of it, but the CEO asked, what's the people aspect of it from my team's perspective? And I said, well, I fully expect to lose 15, maybe even 20% of our top tier talent, because they are not going to want to learn a new technology stack. They're not going to want to do that. They're going to just move on to a consulting company or another company and take their skill sets elsewhere. One of the things I'm most proud of through this change is I didn't lose one person during that transition due to the technology shift, the hard right turn that we did. And that was a lot of change management. There was a lot of effort to make that happen. And not just in Dallas, but globally as well. Then as we get into our process reimaginization, we had to, as I mentioned about our 25 markets, our regional presidents, our corporate partners, we get requests from everywhere around the world. And we've had to, and we still are, improving our intake process to ensure that everyone does have a voice, but then the work that actually gets done is prioritized and it's truly value add for her, right? We don't do technology for technology's sake. It is all to improve her business, to make it simpler for her, or to make her more competitive in this world. And so working a lot on our intake processes. In fact, our product development teams have gone through a intake process upgrade, I would say, is a nice way to say it. And we're actually partnering them because their requests from markets around products is very similar to ours from the application development side. And then organizational transformation. We're in this stage right now, working through how best can we be organized. We're a little bit of a hybrid. There's parts of us that are centralized and parts of us that are decentralized. And in this fast-paced world, where we have to make significant changes, that makes it very, very difficult, right? I can't just make a decision and run and go and execute and make it happen. I have to interact with the regional presidents, with the general managers of the markets, right? And you can just see how much time that takes to make a difference. And all through this change management. Probably 6-7 years ago, of all the systems I deployed around the world, we, as IT, we did the change management ourselves. It was like, oh, we got this, as we kind of went in through these larger transformations. But we did bring in OCM, and I'm really glad we did, because it was just a huge impact into one of the most successful projects that we've ever done. And so learnings and recommendations, what did we learn through this? There's a lot of details, a lot of aspects of it, a lot of lessons learned along the way. But a few key things, takeaways, I would say. One is the mindset coming in. I've always stated, we're in a unique business model. Technology is great, but we really have to be business consultants. We have to truly understand the complex business model, bring technology to bear, and solve the problems. And so really look at us as business consultants, and that's been huge, and a true partnership with the business. And when I get into partnerships with vendors, as we've gone down this this journey from a cloud migration perspective, and more importantly, from the Salesforce.com change. We had zero experience on Salesforce.com when we made this decision. So it was either a bold or a stupid move. It ended up being a bold move and the right move. But I knew we had to go in and get some system integrators in to help us get this up and running and architect it the right way. And when I went through the process of validating these different vendors, one of the things I asked was, part of your job is to train my team, make them experts in Salesforce.com to where we're not dependent upon you. I'm not going to spend multiple years of investment in SIs. And several of them dropped out. They're like, we don't play that game. We're in it for the long term, and that's it. Well, we selected 2 vendors. They worked really well with us. And I'm happy to say I hit my goal. In 2 to 2.5 years, we were not dependent upon those SIs. It was our decision in how we used them. And at the same time, we went through and created a lot of offshore partnerships and expanded our team that way. And we've always been very aggressive from an offshore perspective. But really, it's that mindset. What's your strategy with this initiative? What do you want to have? What do you want the outcome to be? Not just from the business aspect and the technology aspect, but the people aspect. Do you want your IT team to own and be responsible for this footprint? To me, it was a no-brainer. We had to do that. So it was a strategy. They were part of the build, and we had a different plan for the run. But I had the plan for the run before we did any of the build. And that was key. We were able to move pretty quickly that way. Talked about change management. I'll highlight that again. And it's on 2 sides for us. One was our internal change management. Talked about the IT team. Then the other part of our internal change management was to our markets. Each market, we had to go in with an OCM toolkit and a train-the-trainer approach so that they could go train their market employees. And then we had to give them the materials for them to train and communicate to our independent beauty consultants. It's unlike a consumer-based business where you go put up a new site tomorrow and they'll figure it out. We don't have that luxury. We have to ensure that what we put out there is going to help her and it's not confusing to her to run her business. And our wonderful independent beauty consultants, they're very vocal, and they are heard, right? And so we really had to make sure we had OCM on all those levels, and it was really a critical success factor for us. And then ultimately, the ROI. The ROI on the business side, right? We knew we had to get out of our legacy systems that were, 20-ish years old. We knew we needed to innovate faster. We've been able to leverage a lot of the aspects within Salesforce.com around their AI aspects, around product recommendations that we just had to really flip a switch and are seeing true ROI dollars from those product recommendations, and search engines and the click rates of that, the marketing cloud engagement aspects and journeys around IBCs that it's just like an onboarding aspect. And what do you need to do? What should you do in your first week, your first month, your first 3 months, your first 6 months? That can be used in any type of business model. And so we're now spending a lot on building and innovating on top of the foundation that we have. So what's the future for us? The future is still going to have those disruptors there with us, but it's all about her. We have to continue to focus on empowering her to run her business. And because of this fast-paced world we're in, just like the earlier session, the never normal, we need to support her in that same way, providing her cutting-edge tools, skin analyzers, virtual makeovers, to really be competitive. And talked about the disruptive age. I think it's just disruptive times, and unfortunately I don't see that ending soon. And stay digitally relevant. Mary Kay is a relationship company. We are a relationship company, not a transactional company. However, on the relationship side, we still need to provide tools in a digital way for her to support her online business. And that's just going to increase over time. With that, thank you very much for hearing our Mary Kay story. Hopefully you heard a couple of tidbits that were helpful, and I'm here all day. If there's any questions, come reach out to me. I'm glad to tell you more. Thank you.